All right, welcome. Listen, I've been pondering about this a lot, and I did a Facebook live session on this, and it got a lot of great results. And I thought, you know what, I need to post this on YouTube. And I'm sure there's a way where I could have taken that video, but I thought, you know what, I've added some things. I've kind of thought about new things, so this is a fresh take on problems are good, easy is bad. Look, we have been taught, brainwashed, programmed to believe that we need to avoid problems, that problems are painful and that they're wrong and injustice is being done to us if we have problems, that problems are bad, and that we should be looking for the easy way. Well, have you ever noticed that the easy way causes more problems? Look at all the people who try to find the shortcut, the easy way, and they end up getting in jail, lose their jobs, their marriage. Problems are good. Easy is bad. As business people, the profit is in the problem solving, right? The profit is in the problems. As an entrepreneur, your job is to solve your customers' problems. And if you really get good at it, you're going to be solving millions of problems, hopefully at a high profit margin. Isn't that really the problem that you want? So problems are good, easy is bad. You know, some of us are being challenged with some deep, heavy situations. Poor health, death, loss of home, loss of jobs. And there is good in all of this, right? So thank you, Adam. I appreciate you being here. Please share this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have questions after this session, just leave the questions in the comments below. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to my channel, but definitely leave comments, questions, share the video. Let's help as many people as we can. So, what was I saying? Problems are good. Easy is bad. Don't avoid the problems. How can the problems work for you? How can the problems make you better? How can the problems help you have more juice in your life? Some of your biggest, best memories come from, quote, the problem that you solved. Not from running away from problems, but from solving them. Anyway, I was saying, look, some of us are dealing with some heavy stuff. I get that. I've been there. I've lost the job. I've lost the house. I've filed bankruptcy. Man, I know what it is to fail. And I'm telling you that you have to fail harder, faster, better. Go look for better problems. Do you want a flat on your Ford or do you want a flat on your Ferrari? See, the problems don't change. They just get better. Do you want to wake up and have your clothes not fit you very well because you're too fit or too fat? Which is it? You know what? Here's the way life is. If you do a good job, let's bring it down a scale. Let's say you do a mediocre job. You're not even good. You're just average, mediocre. You'll get fired, downsized. Your life is going to suck. Now you step it up a small percentage and now you're good. You don't get good rewards for putting out good output. Performing good doesn't necessarily get you good results. You get average results. But if you perform average or mediocre, you get fired. That's the reality. There's this unfairness, right? And for a good reason. Now, to go from good to, let's say, excellent is, again, just another step. But then you start really seeing some of the great or some of the good results out there, right? Maybe wherever you fly to, you fly first class. You have money in the bank. You know, money's no longer a problem because you are doing great things. You're working hard and you're working smart. And, man, things are clicking for you. But you're not problem-free. Problems are going to plague us the rest of our lives. It's designed that way. It's the way God intended to help us be humble, to help us remember, to help us really know joy from misery, right? Good from evil, right? So, problems are good. Easy is bad. There's been a lot of people that are in jail because they wanted the easy way, right? I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're, what do you call it, a small-time criminal or a mastermind white-collar criminal. You're still in jail. You're still in prison. Bernie Madoff made off with billions of dollars. He took the shortcut. He made it easy. He ruined his family. He ruined himself. Problems are good. And easy is bad. Now, again, some of us are dealing with some big shit, right? Some of us are dealing with stuff that seems like it's unbearable. But the reality is, it's not. It's a wake-up call that you're not stepping out of your comfort zone, right? I'll give you an example. Somebody might have gotten fired. They've been out of work for 2 or 3 months. They are struggling to pay their bills. Maybe they've missed rent or their mortgage. And the reason for that is because they're kind of in their comfort zone, right? They're in their fetal position. They don't want to break out of it because, man, it hurts. Staying in your comfort zone is a big threat. Looking for the easy way is the biggest threat you have. But and that kind of goes back to that whole comfort zone thing. Are you getting this? Right? You understand what I'm talking about? So, problems are good, easy is bad. So let's go back to the person who's struggling to find a job. You can look at your situation and say, oh my gosh, this is bad. And it really isn't that bad if you're willing to step out of your comfort zone. So what does that mean? That means that maybe you take a job that you normally wouldn't take. Maybe it's kind of beneath you a little bit. So what? Step out of your comfort zone. If your friends aren't going to care that you go from being a vice president to, I don't know, not a vice president, that you're starting your career over again, that you're taking a temporary job as a dishwasher. I'd rather be a dishwasher and putting money on the table, food on the table, than keeping your pride and being evicted. Now you're saying, Bert, a dishwashing job is going to pay my bills. Great. So start downsizing if that's what you want to do, if that's the way you think you need to go. But you're in control of how you respond to your situation. I had a client of mine who's making millions of dollars per month, literally making $1 million per month. The government started an investigation, and so they shut his business down because they thought he was doing something wrong. And the investigation took like 18 months. And it was a horrible situation. They ended up laying off all of their employees. After 18 months, they were found not in any violation of anything. But for 18 months, he couldn't make money the way he used to make money. And the first thing he did within the first 2 weeks of this shutdown is he got rid of all his luxury vehicles. A lot of people wouldn't have the guts to do that, right? They'd be talking about how unfair life is and how, the government's screwing them over and how, it's they're the victim. Well, all that might be true, but it doesn't solve your situation. So he sold his luxury vehicles. He started looking at possibly downsizing his house, and he still had a lot of money in the bank. And so he started looking at maybe doing another business, right? And he ended up, in the midst of this problem, he ended up finding another business because he had to. And this other business that he found was better in so many different ways. It allowed him more travel. And the other business that he lost would have gone out of business anyway. The market was shifting. Now, he probably would have continued to make millions of dollars until he decided to shut it down. And so it was shut down a little premature. But part of going through all that ordeal is that he was deemed as not violating anything. The attorney general that investigated him ended up apologizing for the wrongdoing that the prosecutor had done, which is very rare in the justice system. And that doesn't put money in your pocket. But, bottom line is he was a good, honest man, and he still is. He didn't break his integrity. So, problems are good. They're just not easy sometimes, right? Problems are good, easy is bad. Easy is the biggest threat you'll ever have. Here's another situation. There are a lot of businesses out there who are starving, who are dying, who are having problems making sales, but they don't break out of their comfort zone. Back to the comfort zone thing, right? The owner of that business isn't willing to pick up the phone and start prospecting because they don't want to break out of their comfort zone. And that's what and part of this whole, quote, problem thing is to break you out of your comfort zone. So problems are good. Easy is bad. Think about this. If you started breaking out of your comfort zone each and every time, right? Think of the wealth and confidence in the life that you would have if you just did the things that you know you need to do. A lot of the, quote, problems we have is because we refuse to get ourselves out of the comfort zone. I know literally thousands of people who've started a book have never finished because they don't want to be laughed at. They don't want to be judged. They don't want to be criticized. So the problem isn't that they're going to be criticized, because whether you do something or do nothing, you're going to be criticized. The problem is that they have given their power over to the naysayers, people that they don't even know. Could you imagine that? I can, because I've done it. So problems are good. Problems are an indication that you've been in your comfort zone too long and it's time for you to make a change. Problems are gifts waiting for you to unravel them. If you're spiritually minded and you do a search for the word affliction or problems, you will find that part of the explanation, they use the word gifts. Again, if you're spiritually minded, whether you are Christian or Jewish or Muslim or whatever else, if you look at the scriptures in general, you will see that God's chosen people didn't have it easy. They just had it better because they had that one-on-one connection with God. But it wasn't easy, it was just better. And ultimately, what you want out of life is better. So, could you imagine you wake up in this first class hotel and you can't remember for just a couple of seconds, you can't remember what city you're in, right? Isn't that a great problem to have? So you want better problems, right? That's really what life is all about. Getting better problems, making your life better by solving that problem and the next problem and the next problem. Could you imagine the problem that you would have to solve, or the problems that you would have to solve to be a best-selling author, to be a multi-millionaire, to have the dreams that you dream of come true? What problems do you have to solve? And I bet you 80% of the problems that you have to solve have to do with you coming out of your comfort zone, have to come with daring to fail. I get to hang out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and a couple times a year I see him, and one of the things that he's really taught me is that most people's lives are terrible or very mediocre because they're not willing to fail. They're not willing to be laughed at, and they're not willing to take that risk. So they stay in their comfort zone and they, quote, deal with the same problem over and over again. And that's really the big problem. Because again, problems never change, they just get better. Whether you have a Ferrari or a Ford, you're going to get flat tires. You're going to need to tune up that car. You're going to have to wash it. The problems stay the same, they just get better. So I just want you to remember that problems are good. Easy is bad. Rebecca, thank you so much. Please share this video. Thank you for your comment. Thank you so much. So as you're pondering this, please let me know what you think. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this with other people who are having problems with their health, their wealth, their relationship. Now, one of the big issues that come across is a chronic illness, cancer, lupus, leukemia. And let me tell you, these are very difficult. They're not fun. But I believe in my heart that the people who are going to solve lupus, who are going to solve leukemia, who are going to solve cancer, are probably going to be the people who have these terrible diseases. Because they're going to be highly motivated. They're going to have tons of empathy, right? They know what it is to have this terrible situation. But people who are dealing with poor health are grateful for the health they have, and typically they make the time that they have really mean something. So it's not always easy. And we all have to deal with all sorts of different junk. But bottom line is, problems are better. Problems make our lives better if we step up our game. If we break out of our comfort zone, right? And it doesn't have to be all at once. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's really hard. So let's say you want to publish a book, but you're afraid. You're afraid that what are people going to say? Well, guess what? Whether you publish that book or not, people are going to talk about you. And whether they love you or hate you, at least now they know you. And that's a great problem to have. Presidents are hated by 50% of the world, not just of the U.S. population, of the world. I'm telling you, it's a great problem to have. 50% of the world hates them, 50% of the world love them, but the whole world knows them. Or at least the civilized world, right? So when you start thinking about it, it's not a bad problem to have. It's a great problem to have. Because as the former presidents of the United States, they get massive speaking engagements, massive fees for their speaking engagements. They get massive, fees for their books. Bill Clinton, I believe to this day, gets like $250,000 per speaking engagement. So it's better to be loved and hated than not to be known at all. It's a great problem to have. Problems are good. Easy is bad. Look, I want you to start thinking about it like this. For quote, whatever problem you have, what's good about it? What can you learn from it? If you solve this problem, what is the next step for you? How is this going to up-level your life? If you have been laid off of a job, how do you solve that? Do you get another job? Do you start a business? Right? So, how do you take this situation, this quote problem, this bad situation, and turn it into something that supports you, supports your family, makes you better, thrills you to wake up in the morning? And again, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying that it's better. I'll give you an example. Being single is easy than being married. Being married with no kids is easier than having kids, but it's not better. Living your life as a hermit up in the mountains by yourself is not better. It's just easier. And easy is the biggest threat you'll ever have. Easy is the wrong thing that you're looking for. I have 5 kids, 5 wonderful kids. And let me tell you, I was scared to death having my first one and not as scared having my second one, and even less scared with my third. And when the twins came along, new level of panic all over again, right? But man, do I love my kids. Man, my kids have made my life enormously better. I am so grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for everything I've learned from them. And the last 2 kids in my home today are my twins. and I'm grateful for how young they make me feel, and I'm grateful for the patience that I've learned. Man, if you want to gain patience, have a bunch of kids. I have a friend of mine who's got 7 kids. 8. I don't know. It's an enormous amount of kids. And he's a very patient, loving man. And he's also very successful. So, problems are good, easy is bad. And if you're looking for the easy road, your life will continue to go downhill. Now, if you're looking for the better road, you're going to have bumps along the way. You're going to have to deal with crap, but your life is ultimately better, right? Look, you were created to succeed, but in order to succeed, you have to work your butt off, and you have to master problem solving, because ultimately, the profit's in the problem. And the more problems you can solve, the better your life gets. You're never going to pick up a best-selling book because it was easy for everything in this guy's life. That doesn't turn us on. We like the movies like Rudy. We like to hear about people like Mandela. We like to hear about the person, the underdog who had no chance making it, right? That thrills us. Hey, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you so very much. And again, from the bottom of my heart, I want you to remember always that you were created to succeed. Talk to you later.